Hi there folks, this is Deckard Spade, and today I want to make an observation or two. You see, a while back I did a video called #RespectTheArtist, and I'm not going to rehash the entire video, but long story short, Lily P ended up using somebody else's art without permission and committed art theft. I'm not going to change my stance on that, and what bothers me the most is that so many people keep commenting to say, oh, they weren't pretending to be the artist so it wasn't theft. You don't have to pretend to be somebody to steal something. That's like saying you have to dress up in a gorilla suit to commit shoplifting. It's not a prerequisite. The other argument is, it's on the internet, so it's fair game. Just because you're faceless on the internet doesn't give you the right to take something that doesn't belong to you. And so many people just keep trying to defend her over the fact that she seems to sound right. To this, I want to talk about knowing your sources of information. When I made that video, I damn well was sure to do some research on fair use. I provided links. I even cited the sources of YouTube's own policies and videos. And I already told you guys I'm not a lawyer, but at least I have some idea of what I'm talking about. Since then, I've made some observations on the videos that Lily has done, and I just want to briefly mention them so that you guys can get some perspective on your source. So let's go over them. Number 1. An increased distancing of herself from the brony community. Lily's go-to response involving somebody in the community is to A. Make a huge ranting post at them and then delete it, and or B. Block them from the social media so that they can't retort. You know, because she's allowed to have her opinion, and anybody else who isn't should be insulted and told to be quiet. Number 2. Her avatar is becoming less and less brony-like. When I started making videos, she was still using a pony avatar. Then she started using an Equestria Girls avatar. And now, I'm not sure how to describe it, but I'll take a stab at it. It's the unholy bastardization of Dr. Girlfriend and the Proud Family. And I suspect that this won't be the last avatar change that we see either. And maybe one might say that she's moving on to another demographic. But why? And who is she talking to? I mean, is she talking to the people that she keeps quoting World of Warcraft to? I don't think so, because she's not really talking about those video games. She might try to quote a line from them, but she doesn't quite grasp how to talk about the games as a whole. And she's not really doing character analysis as so much in-the-moment discussion that's convenient to her argument. Is she trying to talk to the other parts of the analysis community? Because I don't see any actual constructive criticism so much as I see her ranting about how people are wrong. And after taking a brief look at her channel, she's still producing pony content. There are also a couple of videos that review Star vs. the Forces of Evil and Steven Universe. But after what I've seen from her behavior, it's almost as if after she decided to do some negative content about others, she burnt those bridges and then decided I'm going to move on as a necessity. Her credibility is being questioned. She's thinning the amount of people who are going to take her seriously. And if I can make a quote from what she said about her Glass of Water series.
Because if you're not aware, Glass of Water is nothing more than my soapbox to complain about attitudes and behaviors in the community I'm increasingly tired of seeing, and hoping to help the community better itself through more in-depth critical thought and self-reflection.
Forgive me if I'm wrong, but in order to question your perceptions, don't you actually have to question things? Maybe you might inspire that by saying something negative, but the moment that happens, the person's going to question the validity of your statement. A person's worldview is not only affected by the things that they see and take in, but the things that they also have grown up with and experienced. And to challenge the things that they've seen and done before, they have to actually interact with it. Not only does this require self-talk, but communication beyond oneself for confirmation. And Lily, I'm sorry, but you don't interact with the community. You talk at the community on your soapbox. And to let you know how much you've ostracized the rest of the analysis community, people have been handing out badges to show that they're proud of the fact that they've gotten banned from your social media for little to no reason. You may at times have some logical points in your discussion, but it falls apart like a house of cards the moment someone talks in its direction. And blocking someone from questioning the validity of your statement makes it look like you have no validity at all. This in turn chips away at the foundations you have to build your next argument. And then I caught this little gem in your 3 a.m. rambles. her free speech perception versus reality talk. Now, she does have some good comments about how things work when it comes to free speech and how private industry does have some rights in filtering their comments. That said, the video also starts off with her saying this.
I have gotten very cynical about freedom of speech, and I have no fucking patience for it whatsoever. So, I address freedom of speech entirely in its legal concept.
She then goes on to talk about the idea of freedom of speech and the concept of freedom of speech in different countries. She talks about the legal pretenses behind it and why people have certain rights to be able to do what they do. She moves on to talk about how private websites do have the right to control the content that goes on their website through free speech laws.
See, the thing is, when you're removed from a private organization, there's literally nothing stopping you from going elsewhere. So it's like if you post some big rant about how I'm this terrible, awful person because you read such and such shit on such and such message board, and you post it in the comments and then I ban you, there's literally nothing stopping you from making your own YouTube video about it, short of YouTube's own copyright and community guidelines. So yeah, of course, if you break YouTube's own rules, YouTube will tell you to hit the road, which YouTube can do because YouTube is a private organization that is owned by Google. This is what makes this stuff not censorship.
Now I have to stop it here because, yes, it still is censorship. It's legal censorship because they have the right to control the things that go on their site, but it's still censorship. It is that company or person who owns the site that removes the content because they find it distasteful. Let's continue listening.
Okay? Because this is all an aspect of freedom of speech that people are allowed to have. And of course, if you get banned off YouTube, you can go make a Tumblr blog. If you get banned from Tumblr, you can make your own fucking website, and then you can post whatever bullshit you want. This is typically why neo-reactionaries and, other bigoted jagoffs will often make their own websites, because then they can make the rules. At its basic level, this concept is you don't have to go home, but you have to get the fuck out of here.
Now, I do agree with the basic concept. They don't have to stay there. They can go somewhere else. To which I say to all of Lily's viewers, feel free to go somewhere else.
So when someone filters their comment section, you might think it's skeezy, but that's your own personal opinion. That isn't actually relevant to any discussion whatsoever.
And that last comment shows her appreciation for everybody else's opinion except for her own.
You might think you have the right to free speech, to just post unfiltered in someone's comment section. You might think it's censorship, but it's not censorship.
And again, not grasping the fundamental idea of what censorship is while talking about free speech. And one could say that you're just not calling it censorship because you don't want to be labeled for using censorship. The fact is, YouTube isn't the one that's filtering the comments at that point. You are. And yeah, it's legal. It's fine for you to do. Sometimes it may even be justified. But that's the key word. Justified. When you do it every time someone has a differing opinion to you, which you obviously don't think much of other people's opinions anyway, you end up using it too much, which means you just want to hear yourself talk. Because if somebody else was to, challenge the thing that you said, not only might they be challenging their worldview, you might challenge yours. And it's sad to see, because there is some intelligent conversation that you have inside of your videos. But without being able to challenge it yourself, there's no room for growth. And if you can't grow with your channel, then you're not going to be able to do anything other than superficial content. And the very series that you said that you wanted to challenge people with to have them grow has become a tool for you to just talk and rant at people without actually listening to what they have to say. I'm not telling you that you have to listen to everything that someone says, and I'm not going to complain about a violation of free speech either. But what I am going to suggest is that you start opening up and listening to what others have to say. Maybe just take the parts that you like and start applying them. Then you might end up being better for it. Otherwise, you come across as a hypocritical, aggressive jerk that likes to call people knobs. As always, thanks for staying a while to listen.